Something's wrong. I figured something's wrong. I was on the wrong Zoom, guys. So we do these every Wednesday at 1 o'clock for in our Team Go-Go organization, right? And the last Wednesday of every month, we open it up to the public. Well, I was on a regular link. It was just me and Amy Mitchell. And I'm like, Amy, more than likely, you're on the wrong link. And come to find out, we were. Okay, so here we are. Sorry for I'm on time, but I like to be a little early. So I guess I don't have to apologize for being late. But being on time is being late, right? Okay. I love it. I love seeing faces and I don't know, and I love seeing faces and I do know. So we have Melissa here today. She is going to take us, Melissa Johnson, because also Melissa Albert is here today too. So Melissa Johnson is going to teach us, everyone who never capped before, how to cap and do it over and over and over again. Thank you, Melissa, for being here. And then we should have Kristy Harries. I see you, Kristy. So Kristy is going to take us after capping all the way to how to icon and do 75 transactions plus year over year. How exciting. And then after we figure out how to produce, then the question is how the heck to get ourselves out of production. And for that, we have Kimberly Clem today, and she's going to teach us how to do that. So I'm super excited to see all of the faces coming in. We still haven't been able to figure out how to feed these live. So Kristy has been on all day with Zoom and we still don't have a solution. So it seems to be a never-ending vicious circle for us. So for the Team Go-Go agents, we are recording this. It is going to be inside of our private YouTube channel for the people who can't make it. Hi, Jano. So good to see you. You're representing on this first page. Oh, we have a Stefan, we have a Gary and a Cherian. Okay, so we have some guys. I feel bad sometimes when we have so many ladies, right? But in the real estate industry, 64% of realtors are women. So just FYI, that's why so many of us representing, right? Okay, so I guess we can get started. Melissa, let me make sure that you can share your screen.
And I want to make me the co-host Gogo too, so I can help you let
yes.
people in. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah, and I'm okay. I'm not gonna. I don't think I don't have anything to share on my screen, so I'm just gonna kind of tell you my story, and I'll share with you what Gogo taught me. And so just a little bit about myself. I started off with a builder, did that for a year, and then went out on my own and worked with a small little boutique brokerage. And our cap was 20,000, and it was an 80-20 split, so same as where we're at now at EXP. But I would just get to the point, and it was every year, I would just get to the point where I would almost be capping. I'd be about a couple thousand, probably about a deal off. And then my year would start all over. And it was like that for every year, the 3 years I was there. And I just kind of assumed that for the rest of my career, I'm just going to never cap. Like, this is just the way it is. And I was happy because I was a teacher. So I was making my teacher pay and all was good. Well, when I came over to EXP, I capped in the first 6 months and made 100% the rest of that year. I literally almost doubled. I know, right? I doubled my income. I was ecstatic. And I've capped every year since. So, and I just capped, I'm on my 3rd year with EXP, and I just capped again. And now I'll have another 6 months at 100%. So I basically gave myself a pay increase. So for me, and I know Gogo's not going to like this, I'm not a big numbers person, and I'm not a big tracker. So it's not in my comfort zone to do that. So I've had to like force myself to track and to look at my numbers, which I don't like to do, but this forces me, and it's definitely produced what I wanted it to do. So if you're not tracking, you need to track. So the difference for me, first of all, was a $16,000 cap, so it made it doable. But I had to figure out, and this is where Gogo came in, I had to figure out, how do I even know how many transactions I need to close to cap? So just out of curiosity, does everybody know how many transactions you need to cap? I'm
Ooh,
hoping
that's
that
a
silence is good.
that's
That
a
means,
great one. I
yeah.
love that. So let's do the math.
Yep.
Can you maybe teach the agents how to do the math in case they don't know how to calculate that?
Yep. And please step in because this is my math. So go, feel free to jump in if I go off the, you know, if I'm doing this wrong, but this is how I figured it out. And what I feel like you've taught us is you need to figure out what is your average price point. Now, for me, it's around 500, but I wanted to be a little bit on the, I want to reserved it a little bit just in case. So there's some wiggle room. So I went with 400,000. And so you take that 400,000, which is your average price point, and now what you're going to need to do is find out, okay, what is your average commission? Again, I wanted to be conservative, so I went with 2.5%. So from that 2.5%, what is the 20%? You're going to times that by 0.20, and that gives you what you're going to be giving over to EXP roughly for each transaction. So mine, it's 2,000. So I take that number, the part that you're giving to EXP, and you divide that by the 16,000. So for me, I need to close 8 deals in order to cap. Now, granted, I've done it in 6 because my price point, I had my first $1 million closing, so it kind of bumped it up a little bit faster. But if you've got that conservative number, you probably will hit it faster. Did that make sense for everybody? Because I know I kind of went through it fast. But you just need to find out what your average commission that you're giving over to EXP for each transaction and divide it by the 16,000. Now I know it sounds great. So the biggest question is, how do you close more deals? So first of all, you're going to show up on these calls every Wednesday, and you're going to pick the trainings that you're going to commit to. Put them on your calendar. They are literally in there on blood. And that's what GoGo has taught us, is that you have to live by your calendar. Like no one, now I'm busy and I have to go back and watch the replays, but like it's on my calendar and it's getting done. You're not going to schedule in that Wednesday time slot that we have these trainings. You're not in there. I'm scheduling everything around it. The 7:30 morning call, I don't miss those. My day starts every day with Kurt and Jimmy and Lisa LaRue. Like every day, I don't miss those calls. Even though when I'm on vacation, like I'm listening to it all the time. So find your, like, what is it that you're going to commit to? Once you find those trainings, here's the fun part. Now take away from those trainings, what are you going to implement? Because you can get stuck in training mode and now you're training, but you're not doing anything. And for me, and I know this sounds really silly, but I thought I was prospecting. And I thought I knew what prospecting was. And I know people say, oh, you need to prospect, but I didn't know what that meant. Like, I know I needed to go out and get business, but I didn't know how do I go out and get business. It was just by the grace of God that people, like my friends and family, sent me people, and then I'd have an open house and I would have people come in. And so when I first started, I mean, I did about 8 transactions, give or take each year. But it was literally it was just luck. I was throwing stuff out there and some of it's stuff. But what really made the needle move is I took what GoGo was teaching us on these trainings and I actually went out, I tracked it, and I did it. And whether it be phone calls, door knocking, open houses, like commit to one thing that you're going to do and do it without fail. I promise it works. It all works. You just have to do what you're going to do. And if you aren't sure how to prospect, get on those morning calls, get on these calls, because there's just no reason that anybody should leave here saying, oh, I couldn't get business. I tapped into Workplace, got those referrals. And I remember I signed up with GoGo for my first training and she's like, so where did your last 5 deals come from? And I'm like, I don't know. And she was like, what? Get off this call right now. I'm just kidding. But now, and I'll see if I can show you, I now have my board of all of my transactions are literally.
Oh my gosh, girl, I seriously got chills. Like, look, if you could see it, every hair on my body standing up. This is so exciting. I'm so proud of you.
So ask me, GoGo, go ahead, ask me, where did my last 5 deals come from?
So, where did your last 5 deals come from?
Oh, so the last 5 deals, so I would say, so 3 of them were my sphere. One was an EXP referral, and the other one was a for sale by owner.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one step further. When it comes to your sphere,
Mhm.
how did they contact you? Did they call you on the phone? Did they see one of your yard signs? Did they come to your open house? Did they see a Facebook post? Did you chitty chat in your grandma's kitchen? What is the method that they use? Because that's the next step, right? Because even though I say sphere of influence, I still have to give the credit to social media because even my sphere saw my Facebook post, and that's what kept reminding them what I do for a living, right? So usually my messages ended up coming through Facebook Messenger,
Yeah.
even though they knew my sphere and they knew my cell phone number. So let's
So
take these three spheres one step further. What is their method of communication with you? Because that's the platform that you have to continue using
yep. So
to
for
make it
me,
exist.
So for me, my social media has kind of been my billboard. People drive by, I don't know who's seeing it. I see them in the grocery store and like, oh, I saw that post, da da da. So I have to say that's one area that I really need to hone in and perfect. But honestly, I call them. I call my sphere. Like it's a regular thing. Like I call them, I check on them. Hey, I drove by your house. I was thinking about you. It always comes back to real estate. You know, like I remember in the beginning, what my coach at my old brokerage told me was, oh, or my previous brokerage, they're like, oh, you call everybody and say, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell a house? Ugh.
I never,
No,
I
it
can
just
never do it. I was like, "Ugh." Nope, can't. I can't beg people for business. I can't. It's against my religion,
yep.
right?
So
But every time someone pops in my head, I'm like, that's God ways of telling me I need to call that person.
100%.
Every time. So if sometimes it's random people that I'm like, I haven't talked to them like since I sold them the house, 7 years ago. But if they pop in my head, and I swear to you, every time they're like, Gago, did you read our mind? Seriously, we're talking about selling the house last night over dinner. But
Yep.
that's you
It
have to listen to your intuition because there is such a thing as a sixth sense. And if you listen to it, it will guide you to what you need to be doing every time.
and set time to prospect. Like you can't just say, because I feel like when we first get in the business, and I'm guilty of this, so this is why I one of the things that I tell agents when they come over is that like we get stuck working on our social media and everything that goes into figuring out KV Core and getting all these things set up. But it doesn't matter if you don't have business. So yes, it's important to get those things set up, but not spending every single day 9 hours a day doing it. Set 2 hours and I'm either going to make phone calls, I'm going to go door knock, I'm going to post on social media, I'm going to pick 8 people and I'm going to talk to them, which, it's just intentional prospecting, but
So
it's
let's
right there.
describe, would you describe it to us what that looks like for you? Like, is it a regular good old phone call? Is it a video messenger, like a Facebook message video base where you call them by name? Like, what does that look like? How often do you do it? Like, just describe the whole thing.
Yep. So from 9 to 11 every single day, I get on my phone. I have, funnels that I've set up. So first I go through anybody that's new. I call them the first half hour. And then the next half hour, I'll check in
So
on.
what's considered new? Someone you met
Okay.
at the
So,
grocery store, at yoga,
yep.
like,
So no, so I would say anybody, well, maybe anybody that I've met that I've put into KV Core. So I've got my KV Core up and running. It's my machine. It's every morning, daily calls. And without fail, I go through those calls of wherever that KV Core is telling me that those people are. I set up some of, it's Braden Kinder, some of his funnels that he had. And those are people that I follow up. Anybody that comes in that clicks on my website, they've done a home evaluation. Those are the people that I check in first. And then I do my for sale by owners, the expireds. And then the last hour, I will go through KV Core and just start clicking away at people of who I need to call. And then if I run out of those, because it's set up in my KV Core, like get that set up. Then I'll just literally go to my phone and I just go, okay, who have I not talked to in a while? And start out, I'll go to Z and then I'll work my way through. So, I mean,
question for you. What do you think is a sweet spot to hit up your sphere of influence? Like, is it quarterly? Is it monthly? Is it half a year? Like, how often do you feel like you talk to your sphere?
I would say quarterly, 100%, at least talking to them 4 times a year. If they're not coming to an event or, like I haven't run into them at the grocery store. Like all of it counts.
Yeah. So what I used to do, I would go to their Facebook account and I would go a little like, the last 10 posts deep to kind of see what's going on in their life. So then I have something to talk about with them. Right. So when I would call them, be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that Amy is graduating this year. Like, that's crazy. My gosh, time flies. Like, how did you guys get through high school or what? I just like give me something for like something to talk about. So it's not just like, hey, how are you doing? Right. So that's my little tip on there is actually go to their Facebook profile before you call them to kind of see of like what's going on in their life. So if it's kind of like a uncomfortable conversation because they weren't expecting a phone call, right? Then you have a couple bullet points to touch on.
And that's a really good point, Gogo, because I ran into a lady at the grocery store, and this was before I was even in real estate, but it made me remember, go and find out what's going on. Because I was like, oh, hey, how are you? And she's like, oh, I'm doing okay. And I'm like, oh, is everything okay? And she's like looking at me like I'm crazy. And she goes, did you not see my Facebook post? I'm like, no, my mom died. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So like that was such a shock to me because people think when they're posting on Facebook, they really do assume everybody sees it. And I was a little embarrassed by it.
And for me, the other way around too, because I feel like I post so much, and then when I get on a phone call with them, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I think I saw Kobe yesterday. It's like he bought a new guitar, and then Duke's riding the Suran and all that." I feel like they know everything about me, right? And so I feel like I should know things about them, right?
Yeah.
So I used to try to go to their profile first, get a little familiar what's going on in their lives, and then dial those, those catch-up calls quarterly. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Oh, so I'm just gonna say, like for me, I really did not know what it meant to actively work in my business and on my business. So if someone says, okay, I'm spending 9 to 11, you're like, I don't even know what to do during my prospecting time. Like I wouldn't even know what to do for 2 hours. Like there are so many people on this call. There are so many people in our GoGo family that literally will help you find your people and set up accountability. Set up your little group of core people that you're going to work together and support each other when you're having a bad day or somebody's mean to you on the phone or whatnot. Like have those people, those groups of people that you can break off in and form your little, accountability groups. There's just I cannot say enough. Like this it has totally transformed my business. Like I just I'm so excited to hear. Like now my next thing is I need to icon.
So we are heading right into that conversation, right? But before we go over to Kristy Harries to figure out how to go from being 100% agent to actually earning your cap back, because that's one of the biggest benefits of being at EXP, right? Is that, yes, we have a 16,000 cap 80-20 split, but we get to earn it back, right? So the first step is capping. So you can get to that 100%. The second step to the process is while you are at 100%, figure out how you can earn that back, right? Becoming an icon agent. And Kristy Harries is our next speaker. She's going to explain us just that. But before we let Melissa go, thank you so much, Melissa. This was so amazing. Thank you and congratulations for all of your success. Let's open it up for like a quick 3-question Q&A. You can raise your hand or you can put it into the chat box. So ask away before we let Melissa go, and then we go over to Kristy Harries. Any specific questions to Melissa? Put in the chat or raise your hand. Let's see. I think we good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
I have some questions in the chat actually, Gogo. Christine, is morning a good time with people working or is evening better for calls?
All right, so here I'm going to give you the Kurt Shewell answer. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? The best time to make calls is when you're going to make calls. So that's why we do them first thing in the morning, because as the day goes, like it just spins out of control. But if your time is in the afternoon or the evening and you find that that's more productive, then make your calls then. But it's like exercising. You got to do it. I mean, do I like making phone calls? No, it's like pulling off my toenails, but it has worked. And like I can't imagine not making phone calls and having my business be where it's at. So do it when you'll do them.
Good answer. And Holly does have a question. So Holly, unmute yourself and ask away.
Sorry, I typed it in the chat. I was just curious, when you get a KV Core inquiry on a property valuation and the only thing you have is their address, how do you handle that?
Yeah. So in our MLS, and you may have this as well, and if you, two places, Remine, you can go in and put their address in, and a lot of times down, you can find their contact information on Remine. Also, if you have Forewarn, which a lot of MLSs are providing that free, so that you can kind of check out phone numbers before you meet a stranger. You can do, if you put in their name and their address, or just even the address, more than likely, you might be able to, and also do a property appraiser search. That's where you could get their name. So put the property address into property appraisers, get who the owner is, and then just, you do have to do a little digging, but yes, that's how I get their information. I did that today.
That's awesome. I have a cheat sheet for that, but a cheat step for that. Would you feel comfortable opening up your KV course so I can walk you guys through it? Or
Yeah.
Kristy can open up hers, whatever you feel. You have it open? Okay,
Yeah.
can you open that?
Is that okay?
Or I'll share your screen.
Mhm.
So I want to show you guys this trick though, because when someone goes to your KB Core website, in order for them to get the CMA from you, they have to provide you two things, right? They have to provide you with their physical location, the address of the property that they want a CMA on, but they also have to provide you an email address in order for you to send that report to them, right? So let's say, pick one, like, I don't know, pick Kristy Weaker, right? You know, pick someone.
I know.
Pick a subject, somebody that we don't know, like
That's my training account. So.
Okay, so do you have anybody in there that is a contact that came in for a CMA? Because if not, I can't use that. If not, we might have to ask Melissa. But
So
anyway, just
Mhm.
open one contact super quick, Kristy, maybe yours, and then we'll be fine. I'll show you something, and then you guys can
yeah.
practice on your own. And Jen is here. She showed up today so we can hang out in person. And she has 1 million under contract this week. This week,
1
girl.
week.
Good job. Congrats. I love
Slow
it.
week.
So she came over to celebrate. So here's what I want to show you guys. When a lead comes into your KV Core, you can actually find them on Facebook so you remember they provide you the physical location and they provide you the email address where they want you to send them the CMA. If they happen to use the same email address for their Facebook, KV Core is smart enough to find them on Facebook. So what you need to do is you're going to click over here where it says more actions. Click that, go all the way to the bottom. You see find on Facebook. Even LinkedIn, you can find them on LinkedIn. If they use the same email address, you can find them on those platforms.
Yep.
Because the system knows if jessicasmith@gmail.com, it must be the same jessicasmith@gmail.com on LinkedIn and the same jessicasmith@gmail.com on Facebook if that's the email that they use, right? So if you go over to Facebook, it's going to show you that person's account. But since Kristy's logged into her own account, this is a bad example, right? So you can stop. It doesn't work since you're logged in. And it's your own account. But pretty much what you need to do when the lead comes in, you're going to click more, you're going to go find on Facebook. And if they use the same email to create their Facebook account, you're going to be able to find them on Facebook. Now, here's the other tricky part, right? Well, not tricky part, but the part. How many unopened Facebook messages do you have by the end of the day? Everybody opens them, right? So then what you need to do is grab your phone, do a quick little video and say, hey, Jessica, I see that you want me to run a CMA on 123 Main Street. I did. I sent it back to you. You know, the price came in at 430,000. I hope you like the number. I just wanted you to have a face with the name. My name is Gogo Batki, and I would love to earn your business. Please call me back on blah, blah, blah number, and then just include it where it's clickable. People always open Facebook messages, right? So then you're going to get right into their inbox. And this is the easiest way to play Big Brother with KV Core. And Sotero has a question. So go Sotero, and then we have to go over to Kristy Harris.
Hi, Sotero.
Hey, Melissa, how you doing?
Good.
Awesome. The question, it was earlier you were talking about you do your calls faithfully 9 to 11, and then you said something about something in KV Core. Like, I don't know if it was alerts or something. And I guess you could talk more about what that looks like, because I use KV Core, but then I don't use KV Core. I could use it a lot more. It's just a matter of studying it, you know, and so time is my challenge. So I don't know if you can expound about that part.
So when you set your KV core, or like when you put someone in, KV core knows it kind of automatically should put them on some type of a notice that, like, if you haven't talked to them in 30 days, it should be set up that you get a daily email, and it says daily mail from KV core, and it will give you a list of the people you need to call that day. And it'll give
Okay.
you know, yeah, and I just go through that list. And usually I would say, you know, some days it's 1 or 2 people, and then other days it's 25 people. It just depends on what campaigns I have going, of who comes into the KV core and how often that drip campaign.
Okay, so you kind of use it religiously then.
Religiously. Like, there's not
Okay.
a day that I'm not in my KV core, because literally, like, I have a postcard campaign with a CMA. They click on it and they get a property valuation. And I've had 9 people click on for evaluation, and that came in through KV Core. If I didn't go to my KV Core, I would never know that they had clicked on that QR code.
Okay, have you done anything beyond the way it comes? Like, you know, built it out more, or paid somebody to build it out more, or campaigns? Or you're working right with the raw materials?
I pulled it right off the shelf and just went. I didn't do anything to it. Yep.
Very good.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And also you can set tasks. So when you talk to someone, if you know you want to talk to them again in 2 days or a quarter of a year, or how long you said, you can set a new task with a reminder. And then when you log in, it's going to show up in your tasks for that day, depending how long you set the reminder for. So you can literally use it like a full-blown task manager. Thank you so much, Melissa. This was so informational.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are literally half an hour or 15 minutes behind. The idea was then 15 minutes, everyone, 5-minute Q&A. You're running a little behind, so hopefully you can stay, everyone, until we get to the end of it. So now that we know how to cap and then some, let's figure out how to icon. So Kristy Harries, would you please take the floor and teach us?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kristy Harris. I am originally from New Jersey, but I live in Kentucky. You know, we're dealing through it. It's been 8 years, but we still haven't adjusted. Licensed in Tennessee and Kentucky because I live right over the state line. Little fun fact, I live in a town where I had more people in my high school than the town. So
wow, what?
We got it. We have it going on. Anyways, I've been licensed. It'll be 8 years in August already. Wow. I've been with EXP. August will be a year. So, best decision ever. Thank you, Kat West, because she dealt with me for years and years and years. And yeah, so best decision ever. So I too do not have a presentation because that's just not how my brain works. I sit there, I try to do it, and I'm like, just be me. Like, what are you doing with your life? So, what I wanted to talk about a little bit about my story is, and it kind of hopefully gives hope to others, right? My first year of business, I closed 14 deals. Great. Life is great. Like, that's awesome, right? My second year of business, I closed 2. Like, nothing wrong with closing 2, but why are we going backwards? I was ready to go back to my corporate job. Like, what am I doing with my life? I was in a new state, right? I started in Nashville, didn't know anybody, and then was falling in love, moved to Kentucky and really didn't know anybody because they don't understand me and I don't understand them. So had no connections here.
By the way, guys, I forgot to mention that Kristy is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. The first time I met her in person, we were at Kat West and Jeremy's West retreat because Kat and Jeremy sponsored Kristy, right? They had a retreat in Orlando. I came, to hang out for a couple of days with everybody, and that's where I met Kristy. And I just thought Dwayne and I were like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. So, Kristy, please let your light shine through your head.
It's always shining, girl. It's always shining. It needs to shine. But I forgot what I was saying because that's my brain. Oh,
because I interrupted you.
No worries. So my telling this story is, yes, I have agents all the time. They're like, you do at least 75 deals a year. Like, I want to do that. And I'm like, that's great. But I closed my second year 2 deals. I was ready to get out. My husband and I were, at the time, my fiance and I were planning a wedding. We were working 5 jobs between the both of us because we don't want to be in debt and all this fun stuff. So like there is hope, right? I had a mentor back then that told me, put your head down for 12 to 18 months, literally like follow a schedule, do all the things, and I promise you, you will build a big business. And he was right, because I went from 2 deals to 54 that next year. So I say that again, not bragging. I say that because I have agents all the time that they're like, I'm struggling. I'm gonna have to go to another job. Do I get out? Like, how'd you get to 75 deals? I mean, through Jesus, first off, but second of all, like you have to hustle, right? Most of my husband now has joined me, right? I am like Kat, where we were able to retire our husbands from the jobs that they were at. I told him, don't you dare get into this business, and yet here he is. He'll be 2 years with me. He is the better, kinder half of me. But he's doing well. The way our team is structured is we are not a domestic team. He has his own cap. I have my own cap. We'll probably change that. But for the first year of coming to EXP, I wanted to icon on my own, and I wanted him to cap on his own. So, I mean, we're one, and I take his money and all that fun stuff. But I just, for the sake, wanted to do that. So most of my business is agent referrals, sphere, and past clients. Agent referrals is huge part of my business. I have to go back and calculate. Kat tells me all the freaking time to go calculate. But in the last 2 years, I've closed over 100 agent referrals. So huge part of my business. One of the reasons that I was scared to come to EXP was I thought my agent referral business was going to stop. And I went back and forth, and I was getting referral business from all different brokerages. It just wasn't one. But in my mind, I had this limiting belief that if I moved, that was it. That was going to be the end of my business. God always has a sense of humor, because within 6 weeks of being with EXP, I received 12 agent referrals. So he's like, I got you, boo. I'm going to send you this abundant amount of agent referrals. And since then, I have to go back and look, but I'm probably receiving at least one a week just from EXP. I still have my relationships with other agents and other brokerages, and now I'm getting the referral bit, agents telling me I have another agent in my office and they're calling me. So agent referral business is probably my biggest. Then I have our sphere, right? I mentioned we live in Kentucky. My husband is from Kentucky. He's a pastor at a church. I'm a pastor's wife. I know, check me out. And, thank you, Lord. But he's grown up here. It's a small community. So I'm always like, Jeremy Harris, that's my husband. Jeremy Harris, that's my husband. I pimp him out in a sense, and his name, because I need it. We need our business. And then past clients, we do live near a military base. And as most of you know, a lot of the military, they move every couple of years. So I am now 8 years in seeing that business come out, from there. And then you trickle in some other stuff, like we've talked about it, like Gogo had me explain the story. My husband loves like cold calling. But you go, boo. You're great at it. That's amazing. That's his spiel. So you'll trickle in some circle prospecting. We've received listings from that. We don't pay for any Zillow or Realtor.com or anything like that. Not that I think anything is wrong with it. We've looked into it and then just said why. We can kind of invest our money in other places. But again, I say that because we're in a weird time, right? I wanted to talk a little bit. I'm sure we hear it all the time, but like mindset and also being authentic. When I first started, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to wear high heels. Well, like I'm on a health journey. I used to weigh 350 pounds. Nobody's wearing high heels at 350 pounds. You're lucky that I'm walking and not in pain, right? So I had to be me. And even, sharing on social media, I've been sharing a lot about my weight loss. I'm over 100 pounds lost. people are reaching out to me like, I saw your recipe. Can you send me that recipe? By the way, I need to sell my house. And I'm like, oh, okay. You don't have to just share everything real estate. Simple things. I will like show up on Instagram with like pimple cream because, I'm fabulous, whether I was 350 pounds or now, but I wanted to, I'm just being authentic. And I think we live in a society where like there's a lot of fake, there's a lot of like hype on social media. And I think just being you and being authentic works, right? So with that, I mean that also like, if you are like, I don't want to pick up a phone, phones work. I used to do it for years. I used to circle prospect. I used to do all the things. But if you are like in the fetal position in the corner because you cannot pick up the phone, find what works for you, right? Like there's so many different pillars of business. My husband doesn't really want to be on social media, right? He's like, if I have to take one more selfie, he may throw up. I don't want to cold call anybody, but that's what works for him. So you have to be authentic to you, right? I'm loud and from Jersey and talk about Botox, and he is kind and loves Jesus. I mean, I love Jesus too. And he's 6'5" and a gentle giant, right? So we are just who we are, and it just works, right? But the mindset, you can't compare yourselves to others. I am 8 years in, at least 75 deals a year, and I probably once a week, and I'm like, I'm such a loser. I'm horrible. What am I doing with my life? Business sucks. I call Kat every time I have a crazy deal, which is like every day. But you just got to keep at it. One of the best books I've listened to was Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. And like, I like when people are like yelling at me. I think that's like the Jersey in me, right? Like I can't be like, oh, you're gonna be great. I'm like, I need you to tell me I suck. So I like his energy, but that book I remember a couple years ago reading it, and I like it hyped me up. So if you want to listen to the Audible, is that what it's called? Audiobook? I don't know. The him talking version. That book was amazing. But yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm happy to answer questions or
Is that book in his own voice?
yes.
Ooh, I would like that too. Okay,
I know, that's
I wrote
why
it
I was
down.
like, and he reads it almost like as if he's talking to you, like he's laughing while he's reading it, like it's like a conversation. So I just really like it.
Good. I love that. So that's how I fell in love with the Tony Robbins teachings, right? Is because I remember when I got a coach, and I called it a very expensive phone call.
Mm,
I paid like $1,600 for someone to ask me on the other end, how was your month? And I was like, we are kidding right now. I mean, realistic. How do you think my month was? Like
for real.
it's crazy, right? So I was like, okay, no, I need like a badass. I need like somebody who is like a little mean firecracker who can kick my ass, because the reason we need a coach is because we don't feel like doing what we're supposed to be doing. So then you need somebody to, like, at least me, to kick my ass into gear, right? So they have to be more badassy than I am. So I can't wait to
100%.
listen to that book.
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing. Awesome.
Yeah,
So let's
it's a good one.
I do have a question, like, what is your tracking looks like on your end? So doing 75 transactions, like, do you even know which side of the transaction you're on when you show up at the closing table? Like, what does tracking looks like for you on your with that many transactions? And then we're going to open it up for Q&A. So please raise your hand or put your question into the chat.
I think I'm offended because Kat is laughing at me because she knows me already so well. So I was an expansion partner for a team years ago where I had to track, and it was like you were fired if you didn't. So when I left, I was like, I'll figure it out. My husband is the tracker. I'll be honest, I'm the person that we close and I haven't even opened up anything in my sky slope yet. So we are getting better. I don't let anything fall through the cracks. But we do have a tracker. It's very simple. It's a Google sheet. It's on there, right? I use my KV core. I don't use it religiously. Melissa, I'm going to use it now because of you. Thank you. But I have dot loop, so all of my stuff is in dot loop. We obviously have sky slope. I tried a TC. I like at some point I'm like, if I'm telling you, I'm just going to do it on my own and move on. My husband does more of the paperwork. He's very detailed and stuff like that. So our new system is I literally hand him the stuff and he just does it.
I mean, don't let me fool you. I'm super, like as I like to joke and say, my trackers have trackers. But if I had to ever put in the information into a tracker, I would never have one. Never.
Yeah,
Not in a million
no.
years. I don't have the patience for that. But I realized the importance of that early enough. And that's where Kristy entered my life, right? And Kristy is the one who's like super organized. I don't
Yeah.
even know where to find the links for these trackers. So when I want to look at a tracker, I'm like, hey guys, can someone send me the tracker for revenue share? Or can I see the tracker for our emails? Or can I see the tracker for Go Get 'em, right? So I don't have it in me what it takes, but I appreciate the end results of being able to track things. So I hire it out. So same in your case, you have your husband to help you with that. Thank God for Kristy, because when Kristy entered my life, guys, I have never even had a file for any, I just showed up at the closing table. I'm like, oh, you need something? I'll find it in my email. I'll call the title company. I'll reach out to the lender. Like I am naturally not an organized person. I don't sweat the details. I know what the end goal is. We're going to get to the closing table. How are we going to get there? I don't care. I don't sweat it, right? But now what I know today, running multiple businesses, you cannot without trackers. So if you don't have it in you, then hire it out. Then hire someone who's going to sit there all day and plug information in for you and have a 1 monthly numbers meeting for all of the lags of your businesses, or weekly, depending how fast the turnover is with money and some, right?
Yeah.
So questions for Kristy about 75 plus transaction, and how is your head not spinning? Or you still have hair?
I'm working on
it. Questions, guys? Is there any in the chat? There is Melissa Albert. Go, Melissa.
Hey, Kristy.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl. We get together sometimes and have coffee.
Yes, we do. We do.
So I want to know more about how you're reaching out and getting business from other agents, because I feel like you have a system or a process there. And I'd love to hear about how you got started with that you're getting all of these referrals.
Yep. So how I started was kind of by accident. It was a few years ago where I told some realtor that I followed that I loved her highlights. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Where are you from? And she's in Texas. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, she was like, random, but I have somebody looking in Clarksville, Tennessee. Do you want the referral? I said, sure. So that started the relationship, because then I didn't realize she's kind of like not connected, but she has a lot of agent referral friends. So then anytime somebody was like, I need somebody in Kentucky, she was texting me and she was like, hey, this is so-and-so, they need help in Kentucky. So really it was just me being me and saying I liked somebody's highlights that started it. But my process is, once I see something on Facebook or on Workplace or somebody tags me, I write the same, it's in like a template, and it literally is like, hey, this is Kristy. Like, I'm sure you're getting a million messages from different realtors. I'm licensed in Tennessee and Kentucky. I've done over 100 agent referrals in the last year. I would love to help, or I would love to connect, even if you found somebody, because a lot of times they will say, I found somebody, and I'm like, great, what areas do you cover? Or let me know if it doesn't work. And 2 days later, they're like, hey, that agent stopped responding. And I'm like, here I am. I have a little graphic that has my map. It has my information and the counties that I cover in Tennessee and Kentucky on there. And I send that. I will then comment and say, send you a message. I mean, literally, like Kat probably sees it all the time. It's the same thing. Send you a message. I would love to connect. Here's my phone number. I've closed over 100 agent referrals in the last 2 years. And the reason I say that is because I want them to know, like, I take good care of them and I'm experienced with it. Post my little graphic, and that is it. I've never called an agent unless it says call agent. I never text an agent. Really. And then of course I've done a lot of agent referral business. So a lot of agents that have used me will tag me and kind of vouch for me. But really that's the process. I always say year over year, I'm going to create something where I, like, maybe, I don't know, send my agent referral partners birthday gifts or a thank you like card or a hello card. And I don't, I should. I keep in contact with them on Facebook. And of course, if I have business, I'm sending it their way. But that's it. I literally do it like at the red light. It takes me 20 seconds, copy, paste. And that's it. Occasionally, Kat has showed me like maybe sending a video, which I will do. But a lot of times I feel like I'm always in the car. So I'm like, I can't, at the red light. Well, I guess I can, but I shouldn't be at the red light recording myself. But that's it. And it's just obvious. you know, obviously I keep them up to date and I close them and I do a good job. But really it's just on social media, on Facebook. I've never, I know some agents pick up the phone and call them right away. The thing is, I don't need you calling me 19 times in a row. I have 95 other people calling me. So it's just a copy and paste with a little graphic. I think the graphic is what stands out. I mean, a lot of people have the graphic, but not a lot of people use them. And mine has the little like map territories. I don't know. I feel like that worked years ago and I just stuck with it.
I actually got an idea sitting here as we were talking. What if we get a full-time VA for Team GoGo, and that person's job is going to be in all the referral groups, and as soon as a referral comes in, because they can log in as me, right? So it's going to look like GoGo Bethke when they comment.
Right.
So in workplace with all those referral groups, and then that person can just jump over to the team. Let's say a lead comes in I don't know, Timbuktu, Idaho, right? They can go over to the Team GoGo map and be like, oh, we have Jessica Smith there, right? So that then they can go back to a post and tag that Jessica Smith in the Team GoGo organization. Then you guys just jump on it. We could literally print money.
That's
Yeah.
a genius idea.
That is smart because sometimes you see it 874 comments later.
Okay, so here we go. We're hiring another VA, but like that would be amazing. Like literally, so that would be literally their full-time job, just to be in the referral groups and tagging the Team GoGo agents off of the Team GoGo map. You already have the map, name, email address, phone number.
We thought about this before, and I don't know.
Oh, did we now?
Yeah, we did, and we tried it. We tried it, but some of the issues were like the state groups. We can't get access to the referral groups. There's only certain public groups within workplace.
No, just like the big ones, right? Because in the big ones we have,
yeah.
But how would, I guess the question is, how would that VA know if that Jessica Smith is the Jessica Smith from Team GoGo?
They would have to be friends with us. They need to friend us on Facebook. And you know, GoGo, if that's a problem, you're just going to create the new referral group. Like GoGo's going to own the state, the national.
I mean,
build a referral group.
Send referrals for everyone I do, but I want to make sure our family eats first, right?
Right.
So we're going to have to figure out how would that VA know if that Jessica Smith is the Jessica Smith, right? Because as we are growing and there's multiple people in workplace with the same name, that's when it gets a little iffy when we don't know if that's the right person. Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Thank you so much, Melissa, for the question. Thank you so much, Kristy, for the answer.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge today.
Yes, thank you.
You're awesome.
I
And
have a quick
your
question.
shining personality. Oh, looks like Sarah has one more question, and then we're going over to Kimberly. Go, Sarah.
I was just curious. Sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I was just curious, how many people in your team and kind of what's the division of labor between them? So right now I'm kind of putting together a group to kind of just help each other. I have some people manning the phones and making appointments. I have some people going out on the roads to these appointments, and I have, you know, someone in the background trying to just keep it all organized. And I'm just curious, how many people in your team took you to get those 75 deals closed?
My husband and myself.
That's it.
And before my husband, it was myself. We have a VA who works 2 hours a week, and I think it's just because I feel bad and I don't know what else to give her, and she doesn't really do too much, so I just have to let her go. I had a TC for like 4 transactions this year, and then my husband was like, I do it literally, like the TCs call him because he does that great. He's very detailed. So I was like, well, you just do it. So it's just him and I've tried to build a team years ago. I just haven't found the talent, or maybe it's me, and that's okay. I'll never say never, but right now it's just him and I.
So you do all the phone calls, you attend all the listing appointments, you do all the contracts, you handle all the showings, you do all the open houses, everything yourself?
Yeah, I'm a psycho.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and losing 100 pounds and getting ready to try to get pregnant at some point. So yes.
So maybe this will change, but Sarah, I don't want your question to go unanswered. I think Kimberly clammed.
Kimberly, you get it, girl, because you got that.
Exactly. Our next speaker is going to be perfect to answer your question, because this is exactly why she's here today, right? So we went from maybe 1 to 2 transactions to capping and being at 100%. We went from 100% to iconing and earning your cap back, which was Kristy. And now we're moving on of, okay, now when you have so many transactions that your head is spinning, how do you move over to build a team? And that's where Kimberly comes in. So Sarah, your question is going to be answered by
I know, because I like doing business from my hammock here. So I'm not willing to do it all myself. Thank you.
Love it. So Kimberly is going to be able to answer your question. So Kim, would you please come up on stage?
Hi, so I am Kimberly Clem McCreary. If you see my husband, if anybody has ever got married after you've built your business, do not change your last name. It has been a disaster. I mean, just a mess. So sometimes people see me as Clem McCreary. I'm trying to appease both. I know Kristy. We actually have 2 referrals going right now. So even though I don't know how I feel about how you explain Kentucky, that's okay, Kristy. You're not from here, so we'll leave it alone. You know, I would tell you that I am a veteran. So prior to doing real estate, I served 5 years active duty and I wore combat boots. I lived in Hawaii and I lived in Colorado. And so while I understand Kristy's viewpoint on Kentucky is very different, I would tell you if you're thinking about moving to Kentucky, it's actually phenomenal to raise a family and it is a fantastic place to live. I will also tell you, I've been where Kristy is. And for Sarah and everybody else who's thinking she does all that and that sounds exhausting, hey, yeah, she might not say that, but like, yeah, it's exhausting. So I've been in the business just at 5 years next month. So next month I'll hit my 5-year mark. And my first year in, I sold 47 homes. My second year, I sold 77. I got out of the military because I wanted time with my daughter. I wanted flexibility and a free schedule. That's what I said, right? And at 77, I had no life. I was exhausted. And even though I'm a lot like, I do have a presentation, but I'm not going to use it after all of that. We're just going to ignore that. I am very military, matter of fact, and structured. However, you see my VA on here, and he is here organized. Everything down to before I logged into this computer, I had passcodes sent to me in case I forgot my Zoom and my email password. That's a real thing, right? Some days I am so busy now running the team that if I have an 8:15, if my other VA doesn't message me and say, gentle reminder, Kimberly, that you have an 8:15, that 8:15 is going to be waiting until like 9:25 because I forgot about them. So I'm a big person on, I believe, huge on systems and processes. I love go schedule, but at the end of the day, I could not keep up with it without my VAs coming in and doing what they do well, and that's being organized. So after 77 deals as a second-year agent, I decided, hey, real estate was lonely. And a lot of people don't understand that. But building a downline and building a real estate team is very different, but also it depends on what you want. I come from a background of military where those were my people. They were my tribe. These are people that I wanted to work with every day. And so what I did was went out and built that group of people that I absolutely love. Now, here's what I'll tell you. I'm supposedly only supposed to do this in 15 to 20 minutes. There is no way I can tell you the disasters I have done in 4 years to get to where I'm at today in 20 minutes. So I'm going to give you some of the high notes and some of the things that I wish somebody would have told me when I was building my team over. First of all, Kristy is fabulous, but there is no way she's not tired. And there is no way when that client calls that she is not like, okay, but like, maybe I should send my husband, because I know that feeling. I know that feeling of like, yeah, it's a $20,000 deal, but I just don't want to go. I want to be in my hammock like Sarah right now, right? I'm like, hey, who can do the deal for $10,000 and I'll make half the money and stay in the hammock, right? So some of the things that I'm going to talk about is who you hire matters. In the beginning, I was hiring people out of necessity. So once I hit 77 deals, I'm like, okay, I need anybody. So I'll never forget the first person who sent me an email. If you know anything about me, you can email me and Ian or Jai is going to message you back. And then when you tell me, oh my gosh, I talked to you, I'm going to have to text them really quick and find out what I said, because it was not me that you emailed. I am all about phone call, text, and social media. I don't check my email. So my first agent that I hired, she emailed me. That should have been, you know, the go-to no. And I hired her out of necessity because I just needed help. While that agent is a rock star agent today and a top producer in my field, I quickly learned she was not the right fit. Well, what happens is when you're growing the team and you make bad decisions, it's a lot easier to quit than it is to keep going. And so through the last 3 years, because now I'm about to hit 3 years with my team, there were a lot of times where I'm like, should I do this? Should I continue going? Like, I just fired this agent for, that specific agent. I'm a military veteran, so it is very important that people trust me and believe in my values. Her values did not align with who I am. And so I started to find people who understood that, like, I came from nothing. Nobody handed me my business. When you hear me say 47 deals in my first year, I want you to know that I came home from the military with a 1-year-old. And during her 2, 3, and 4, unfortunately, she had to be okay with mommy not being there, because I did put in that hard work. And, but underneath the Go-Go, we've developed this group of women. I know, I'm sorry to all the men on the call, but it's a group of empowerful women who understand, like, hey, listen, we have to deal with a lot more. We have to deal with being a good mom, being able to provide, being a good wife. And it's like boots on the ground. It's easy for somebody to look at me and say, oh my gosh, how'd you get there? But they're not looking at what I did to get here, right? So who you hire matters. Diversity. If you go look at my team, and it's funny because I did a call last week with GoGo and everybody's like, what, do you only hire pretty women? No, I've had men, I've had women. Here's what I'll tell you. Men don't like to listen to women. They don't. And so guess what? I'm military. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. At the end of the day, I've built this business, and you have to do it my way if you want to be on my team. If you don't, that's okay. I'm going to promote you to a solo agent outside of my team, because I want you to understand, I want you to succeed, but don't come into my team with your ideas. Go build your own. And as a team leader, if you don't get that attitude, you will not be a good team leader, because people will come in and decide how you should do things, while I will allow their feedback and each and every one of them contribute. How many times have you attended conferences and you got 55 ideas and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, or man, am I doing it wrong? Maybe I should do this. Kristy and me just attended a conference together a couple months ago, and we're like, okay, we love this. We hate this. Like, actually, we don't want to be like them. And it's just like the military, right? People don't leave duty stations. People leave bad leadership. Nobody leaves the military because of the fact that they hate it. Somebody in leadership made them walk away. And that is so important, right? So in order to become a better leader, you have to be able to say, okay, what am I doing wrong? As a brand new team leader, I wanted them to be as good as me. Here's what I'll tell you. They're not going to be as good as you, because if they were, they wouldn't be on your team. So even if they're 80% as good as you, or maybe they have different qualities that are better than you, I promise somebody's going to love them more than they love you. So when I first started the team, I was micromanaging everything. I was doing everything because I thought, I'll just do it myself. I'll just do it myself. The first thing I gave up was paperwork. I have what we call a black ops, and she does everything. She can run CMAs. She knows everything down to how to script. She knows everything on the back end. She can do absolutely everything down to staging a home, because I've taught her that. She's been with me the entire time. Full disclosure, when I say this, she is my older sister, because why not hire family? I'm giving them opportunities. And how are you going to quit? I mean, she's not going to quit, right? Like, it's going to be awkward at Thanksgiving dinner when she quits. It's at my house, right? Like, that's something that you need to think about and decide, because I have tons of team leader friends that I promise they hired somebody, taught them everything, and guess what happens? They went off and built their own team, their own business. That Black Ops person is also paid very well, and she's not a licensed realtor. So even though she can help guide and go through that, she's not licensed. I don't have to worry about that, because I pay her well enough that she's happy where she's at. The next hire that I made was a VA, and GoGo, if she hasn't explained that to you with her, I think she has like 14 VAs. I cannot tell you. Ian is on here. He's been with me 3.5 years. Everybody, for the last 3 years, I've been building my referral agent business. And so I was all polished, like Kimberly from Kentucky. I've sat in the end of a table and somebody just hear my voice, which is very noticeable. And I've got referrals just based on my videos. Well, that's not me. That's my back office team. There's no way I have time to post on social media all day. There's no way I have time to answer emails. We have a blog going on. All of these other factors, I hired them out, because I'll be honest, the only thing I'm fabulous at is helping people. I also love to train people. So kind of trying to stay on schedule so I can get through back ops. Back ops is so important because I truly believe my agents do not do paperwork. I don't know if you do paperwork, but you hate it. Most people hate it, right? So why not train somebody that absolutely nails it? I don't have to teach each agent how to make sure we don't get sued because I already have somebody else who is trained to make sure that they can do the paperwork. I only had to train one person instead of trying to go in and train all of the other people, right? It's so important that you understand you will lose agents. They will quit. And some of them you will promote to solo agents because you want them to quit and they won't. Like you have to decide what energy you will give off, right? In the beginning, if there's any team leaders on here, you know this when I say this. And if you heard my agents, they would say, if they got to stand next to me in one of the photos, like they were winning because they weren't going to get photoshopped out and get fired. They knew if they were standing on the inside of the photo, they were safe. If you're the new agent, you're on the outside of the photo. I don't care what any team leader says. You care what people think. And every time somebody doesn't work, you're like, oh my God, I have to fire them and cut them out of the photo. Like now they're going to see we're down to 7 people. People thought, I mean, I'm telling you, as a new agent, I thought this was the end of the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, like so-and-so quit. It doesn't matter, right? Maybe they just didn't like how I do business. Maybe they didn't like my personality. In the beginning, I thought I need to change. But what I learned is I needed to change how I was training each agent. So I didn't master making a real estate team until I mastered how to train. In the military, you were taught how you train matters. And you cannot train me or Gogo the way you would train Kristy. And I say Kristy because she has a funny personality. I am not funny. Even though I think I'm funny, I'm not funny. Like, I understand that, right? So you would train us very different. Kristy knows I have a Caitlin on my team. She is the sweetest human ever, super funny, and she used to be a teacher. I want you to know Caitlin was the easiest train I ever did because I'm like, you suck at this and I need you to get better and you understand that these are these people's lives. And Caitlin's like this, absolutely, ma'am. It will never happen again. Thank you for the feedback. Meanwhile, if you would have said that to me, I'd have been like, are you sure I did that wrong? Actually, I did say this. Like, you're going to have to train these agents different, right? You're going to have to individually figure out how to do that. Okay, well, the likeliness is you're going to train other agents, right? Record yourself just like you're doing on social media. We have created a Valor Homes Team University, and it has every recording from the first agent to the 6-man team that I have now. And oh, by the way, if you haven't looked my team up, they are rock stars. I have the luxury agent, the first-time home buyer agent, I would call her farm agent because she's out in Somerset, Kentucky. We have we're going to call her the mama agent, right? The mama agent, like everybody has a place. And then you have like me, and that's like when there's a fire, we bring in the pit bull is what they say, right? So that each agent on my team is completely different. And once you get that, then you can step out because you should know that every year, one of the number one things people ask me is how much is your production? How much are you still in? For the last 5 years, I have sold over 55 homes consistently. I have never dropped below that number since my first year while running a team and having a daughter. And that to me is success. But I'll tell you, this year, my team will surpass my production in regards to I will be 25% of the production and they will be 75% because I stopped working in my business and started working outside. It is, I think, June, because you know we're realtors, I don't know what month it is. I have been on 4 cruises with my family this year alone, and I have taken 7 vacations, and it is June. So if you want your time back, you have got to start focusing on who can do it. I create a lifestyle for them, and that is through training, hiring the right people, getting rid of people when they're not the right fit. I'm a huge fan of if somebody talks bad about me in a room, the question is, why were they comfortable enough with you to talk bad about me? And at the end of the day, I'm going to evaluate both of you, right? These are things that I think are big, and I know GoGo will push in time. So the only other thing that I would tell you is personal growth, personal growth. Like when I walk into a room or I talk to my friends, I say, how do I get better? A book, because Kristy threw out a book. So Kristy, I was waiting for you to throw this one out and you didn't. A book that I'm reading right now is Worthy. if you are a trailblazer like me, your personality offends people, you're not everybody's cup of tea, and sometimes you question if maybe you're a lot. If you haven't read the book Worthy, you should read that book, because it makes you realize that if you're going to build a team, you need to have a plan, and not everybody's going to agree with you. Not everybody's going to think that building a team is the right way to do it. I have been told so many times, just let it burn down, walk away from it, walk away. Today I mean, honestly, we sold 42 homes in the last 31 days. The fact that we were able to do that, they are fabulous. They love each other, and like, they're my tribe. And so I would tell you, if you failed in December, I was down to 2 agents. Today I have 6, and we are crushing it. Just get back up and understand that, like, there's going to be a lot of downfalls, but there's also, they're my people.
And let's talk a little bit about, Kat has a question. Sorry, Kat, just before you, let's talk a little bit about events and the importance of going to events and feeding your brain. You started talking about it, but I don't think you finished that thought there, or unless I missed it. And I think it's so important, because my life changed when I started to go into these events and surrounding my people with, putting myself into a room where I wasn't the smartest person. So can we talk about that?
Yeah, I know it's going to sound crazy when I say this, but GoGo knows this. I attended 16 conferences the year before last. I spent the entire year on personal growth because I felt like I wasn't where I needed to be as a team leader. If you put yourself in a room where honestly people are like, the market sucks, well, guess what? You start to believe the market sucks. If you put yourself in a room where honestly you're the biggest fish, you're in the wrong room. If most of you know, I flew down to meet GoGo. I called GoGo randomly when I decided to come back to EXP. Also, if you're not EXP, thinking about being EXP, you should see on my profile, I was EXP, left for 6 months and came back. So I'm more than welcome to talk about that. But I came back to GoGo and I flew down to her. I'll never forget. I came to her house and I'm like, this is so weird. I told GoGo once I got there, like, I don't know you. I'm just coming to your house, staying with you. I think at one point I said, I just need to make sure you weren't a serial killer. So like, I had my husband on standby. It was a whole thing. But I tell you that to say, I have flown to different states and sat in rooms with people that honestly are intimidating. I coach with Tom Ferry. And so when I coach with him, one of the things people say is like, well, how do you feel when you're in a room with him? And I'm like, well, like, it's intimidating. I'm hoping I don't say anything stupid or use the wrong word, but I'll tell you, when I get uncomfortable, I grow. And GoGo, one of the things we talked about when I was with you is mentorship and being with the right people. EXP downline is a huge deal for me because I left EXP. I had fabulous downline in the beginning, but I believe that we go through different seasons. And so, anybody in here went through that, like, okay, I'm going to be a speaker season? I totally did that. I spoke on so many stages. I thought like, but guess what? I didn't make any money for that. So like, actually that was a waste of my time and energy. While I was giving everybody all this information, I wasn't making any money. And so when you start to look at the numbers, which you should know, GoGo knows, that has been my focus this year. So I think Melissa mentioned that in the beginning. Learning my numbers, even in Melissa, I've been in 5 years. I just mastered that this year, where like, if it doesn't make me $30, I'm not spending one. GoGo, I learned that from being in a group of team leaders who told me, what do you mean you're spending this amount of money on your agents and they're not doing X, Y, and Z? And, GoGo, that I created, it's called a 90-day boot camp. And so basically, if you become on my team as a brand new agent, you have 90 days to get it. And if you don't get it in 90 days, you're promoted to the downline of boots on ground solo agent. But at the same time, who you surround yourself with matters, because in those 16 events, I learned so much. I also learned like what I don't want to do. Kristy mentioned no cold calling. Does everybody hear my accent? Because if I cold call you, you're like, what? Like, what did she say? And if you get me excited and I talk really fast, you're going to ask me to repeat the whole thing, and then I'm just not, it's over, right? So the same with social media. GoGo, I think your social media is just like goals for me. I don't need to call GoGo or ask her how her day is, because I can just look on social media and I'll find out what she's doing today. I just posted, I'll tell you guys, one of the things, GoGo, I've been learning, they've been saying it since 2022. If you're not doing social media, that's the wrong answer. You should be doing it. Nobody needs to tell you to do it. You've seen it for 2 years, just do it. And, I just did this thing where I posted that, like, I'm so polished and you don't get to see this like bold, crazy personality on social media, but everybody that meets me is like, why do you look so polished? Like, you're actually kind of crazy and loud. but I'm not on video. I just did this video last week that said, hey, I'm about to show you who I really am, and let's see if you're here to stay. I think it got like 1,600 views, and I received more messages from other realtors that were like, hey, we want to do business with you. Let's talk about EXP. And GoGo knows how I feel. Like, if you want to join me, if you want a mentor, if you want a friend, you can call me. I am literally Instagram or Facebook. Do not email me. You will not get me. Ian will answer you on that email. But if you have questions, if you're in a spot where honestly you feel like, hey, what do I do? And if you're about to quit, don't. Like, Kristy is absolutely right. When I was at 77 deals, there were times where I'm like, I can just use my degree. I can just go do something else. Like, building a team leverages when you're at a burnout where most people quit. If I lose my team tomorrow, GoGo, I could jump right back in. And I promise you, I've had 2 years of building out a team. I could knock out 77 transactions and I'm not burnt out because I've leveraged that.
And this is exactly why we are doing open to the public, right? Because the idea is that we do these trainings every single Wednesday, and we have this amazing knowledge that we get to share with each other. And this way, outsiders, if you are not with EXP yet, you get to see in, right? And so you can reach out to any of us. If you like the way Kimberly is talking and you would want to partner with her, reach out to Kimberly. If you like Kristy's, reach out to Kristy. If you like Melissa, reach out to Melissa. Reach out to any of us. We would absolutely love to have you. And this is the idea with the open to the public, right? Is to allow everyone to see in of who we are and how we do business together, and to see how cool we are. Because I just love every single one of us. Like, I love our personalities and I love what we all bring to the table, and just so cute. I tagged you all, by the way. I was working in the background while you were talking. I was videoing, and you all tagged. All you need to do is share it later. But Kat, go with your question.
Yes, I love all of us too. Kimberly, this is so good. Thank you so much for sharing. So I have a couple questions. One is, do you have, I know you said your sister is your Black Ops, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Do you have like a list of all of the things that you have her do? If you do, I would love to, if you would share it, to be able to
Ian's
see.
laughing right now because he's like, if we send you that list, you might be like, wait, how much do you pay her? So I would tell you this. I have, when it comes to who do you need, because that's what I would say is, so like, I have Ian. Ian is in charge of marketing, social media. He does like, we're big on like, Ian, I don't know how to explain like the blogs and all the other things. So like, just kind of giving information. I'm honestly at a point where, like, under contract, sold, all that, I'm not doing that, right? People already know I'm successful. I don't need to brag. This is their day. We're at a point where if you go to my social media, you don't see that. And then I have Jai. So Jai is an assistant / transaction coordinator. So Jai is an assistant to Kendra. So Kendra's the Black Ops. Jai is an assistant to Kendra. So Jai is operating as a transaction coordinator, and she's operating as an assistant to me, meaning at 8:15 every morning, I kid you not, Kat, I get a text message that says, good morning, ma'am. Here is your schedule. Here are the emails that came in last night. Here are the things that you need to do today. And then 15 minutes before every meeting, I get a friendly reminder you have a meeting in 15 minutes. And that is crucial to make sure that I'm here today, right? Like, that's everything. Then I have Kendra, Kat, and she does, so we have the portal. It's called Valor Homes Team University. It's very much like GoGo's, and it has all of the training. Ian manages that portal, but we record with a professional videographer, or when we're doing Zoom classes, Ian records that. Kendra takes care of agent questions. If you have agents, quick question is crazy. So she'll answer most of those quick questions. She manages Ian and Jai, so she takes care of all of that. I flip homes, so I flip 45 homes. So she also manages the flip side of the business. I mean, honestly, I can't get you a list because you might be like, that's like you need to give her a pay raise, and then she'll see it because she's going to see this recording, and like, I can't give you her list. And I'll tell you, because I have other team leaders, Kat, who they train somebody and that person doesn't feel like they're enough, and they quit and go to another job. I promise every team leader has lost them at least once. It needs to be like a best friend, somebody who you can build life up, right? My sister, it sounds funny, but her goal is to one day own a laundromat. I don't know why. I tried to talk her into something else, but that's what she wants to own. Like, I will be a business partner with her whenever she's ready to make that. So hire somebody that, like, you can call really quick before this meeting. I'm like, hey, by the way, I kid you not, in my office, you can't see because Ian made this fabulous background, but in my office, in front of me for my presentation is every slide that I need taped up so that I don't have to look at anything. It's in front of me. She does everything from that to training individual agents so that I don't have to. Now, I do all the training, but she can answer the "that's so dumb you don't want to ask Kimberly" question, because like it looks bad to ask that question, right?
Got
Is
it.
there a
Okay.
specific area, Kat, that you're like, hey, who does this?
So we're just thinking of doing something a little bit different here soon and bringing somebody on who would be like an operations manager. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure out how that would look. And it sounded like that person, but this person would like grow with us too. So
She
yeah.
started off making a lot lower, and so we did a few options you can do. We used to, now listen, we do too many transactions at this point, so she was making way too much money. She'll see this and think that's okay. But we used to do a bonus. So she used to make 2% out of the commission. So 1% from the agent, 1% from me. She used to make a bonus every transaction, which incentivized her to help the transactions go faster. That was one thing I started in the beginning. So she would make like a percentage on our transactions as an ops manager. The other thing I would tell you is if you're looking for somebody to kind of take over some of the things, the biggest thing I would say is, in my opinion today, I got lucky, but I think a VA is probably a better option, because if Jai was on here today, which she's not, I have Ian, she is the most organized human being I have ever met in my life. Ian, how old is she? 20 years old?
27.
20. Oh, I'm way off. Epic fail. When you see her, she looks like she might be 16 for the record. But she's from the Philippines, and I'll tell you, I love my sister, but there's a reason I had to get an assistant. She was not organized enough to run it. So I would highly, highly suggest, based on my experience, that you would go for a VA for that position, because I promise, like Ian is family. I know, he's getting married next year, and we're trying to figure out how to get down there to be there for it. They become your tribe, and you'll be amazed at how much harder they work and their work ethic, as well as their organizational skills. Like it's next level from somebody you're going to hire here.
Yeah. Okay, one other question for you. I was just wondering, you said you have 6 agents on your team. Is that right? Are you looking to like grow that, or is that like a kind of a good amount, or like what?
So I have a coach, and every week the conversation's like, are you ready to grow? I am not. I don't want a big mega team. I don't want 10 to 40 people. I only have one daughter for a reason. Like, I know that sounds funny, but like my husband and me, we're a blended family, and we kind of joke and say, the more people you add, the more problems you get. I personally don't ever plan to completely step out of production, because I do love it. I want balance. And I didn't get to read the comments yet, but somebody said, hey, balance is everything. I'm at a point, and honestly, I've made so much money between the flips and everything else. I don't have a team because I want to not work. I have a team because on Friday night or Monday night, for example, we do Pour It Out. I know everybody here has seen the show, the TV, but we do Monday night Pour It Out, where we all get together and talk about, it's like Magnolias or something. I think it's called like Magnolia or something like that. So we do Pour It Out on Monday night, where we talk about, like, right now I'm going through something with my daughter, and hey, her vision's not as good. How do we work through that? What have you dealt with? Caitlin used to be a teacher. So I would tell you, I have massive friends who have 30 to 50 man teams. I don't have the heart for that, because every time I have to fire or hire somebody, I need to like them. So I don't plan on growing. 6 is like too much. You do not see it, but actually my husband got licensed last month, and it's taking everything in me to allow him to be on my team. He's not in my pictures because like that would mess up the beautiful women vibe. And he's going to be a rock star. I'm going to teach him the commercial side. I'm going to allow him to work with buyers. Also, Kat, I do not work with buyers anymore unless you're boots on ground, which is what we call the beginning phase of who I am. And that's in the first 3 years of my business. You did deals with me. You do not get me. You get everybody else but me. And at the end of the day, they're as good as me. So if you don't want to work with them, unfortunately, we can't do business together because I do not work with buyers. I'm not the person you want. After 6 homes, I'm like, do you want to buy it or do you know what you're looking for? They're going to walk you through and give you better service than me, right?
I love it. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I want to add on 2 things to that. So if I saw someone asking, how do you hire VA? If you go to gogobethke.com, my website, myname.com, right? On there, we are giving away a free ebooklet. Lindsay put that together and it's absolutely phenomenal. Talks you through the whole process of where to find them, what Facebook groups to join, where to make a job post, how to pay them, how much to charge them, how to train them, all of that. So if you have never hired a VA, you can go there, get the free ebooklet. I also wanted to add on, Kat, to your question regarding how to pay an operations person. So when Kristy assumed that role, right, working with me, because initially Kristy was more like an assistant / TC, right? And as I was taking on these like new great ideas, Kristy was putting on a new hat and a new hat and a new hat. And I don't want you to overthink it. I feel like that person will grow into the position. Give them what you feel like you need help with today. And then as you guys are growing, you give them more and more, you put more and more stuff on their plate. But because I know myself and I know that it's never going to be good enough for me. And it's not like, oh, we're going to build this project and we're going to sail into the sunset, right? I knew I need to get someone who has the same vision and it's crazy enough to want to grow for the rest of their lives, right? Because if you hire someone in a salary-based position, and they're used to doing this, and this for this salary, then they're not going to want to grow with you, right? Like they're just going to do their job, clock in at 9 and clock out at 5 and call it a day. So in my opinion, if you're looking for someone with operations and you're planning on growing everything that you are doing and, going into the mortgage side of business and growing a local team and doing all of these things, I would recommend that do a base salary. That's a good enough salary that any operation, director of operations or an operations person would take the job for, and then give them a percentage of everything that they work on. So Kristy gets a percentage of everything that I make, from revenue share to GoGo's Bootcamp to like, you name it, everything plus the base salary. So this way, every time I come up with another crazy good idea, she doesn't try to shut it down because now it looks like, oh my gosh, now it's more work on my plate, right? And then one more step to the process is automations. Right? Like when you guys get really good at, okay, these are the projects that we're working on, I would say number 1 is figure out, is there an app? Is there a software? Is there a CRM Pro? Is there something that you can pay $29 for a month, right? And remove the day-to-day. And so if the day-to-day can be removed, then use a software for it, hire a VA for the everydays, and have your director of operation who helps oversee it all. So Kristy doesn't do the day-to-day, she's oversees it all. She knows everybody's job. She can jump in there and do anybody's job. If something's going south, she can fix anything. She's in every program, every software, you name it, she's in it. And I couldn't do it without her, right? But the reason why she's in it for the long run on this crazy ride is because, in my opinion, is because she has the ability to grow with me. So as I'm growing, she's growing in income because she gets a percentage of the end result.
And Gogo, wouldn't you say, and listen, devil's advocate, I say you hire 2. The reason why is because I had Ian forever, but they feel, Ian and Jai live in the same place. And so now they have their team. And so it's kind of nice because I gave them a culture with Ian. Jai wants to take off next week, no worries. They're also cross-trained, so they can do each other's job. And so Jai can go take a vacation for 7 days, I don't care, and Ian's going to cover down for her. And so I also would tell you that hiring 2 people, in my opinion, and Ian's on here, so I won't talk too crazy about him, but they also motivate each other because, man, when we got Jai and Jai hit the ground running, we found that Ian did better, right? Because he's like, well, dang, she's like doing all this stuff. Let me step my game up, So also I feel like they motivate each other and we kind of push them against each other.
Yeah, every position that we have, at a minimum, one more person is cross-trained, right? Because I can't allow, I want everyone to have a freedom and go work whenever, whatever. I always tell them, I don't care where you get it done as long as you get it done. So when I need it, it's done. Like, I don't care if you're in the middle of a club or on the beach with your toes in the sand. Like, I don't care. But with that being said, in order for me to be able to give them freedom and, practice your religion and take time off if you're a national holiday in Brazil or Pakistan or something, right? Then I need someone else to know how to do your job because stuff doesn't stop for us. right? So a national holiday in Brazil, it's not a holiday in the US. So we are still working. So if you have to take it off, then the person in Pakistan needs to know how to do your job. So someone's always available. So I think that's a huge point of being cross-trained. Sarah, ask your question. You got Kimberly.
First, I just want to thank you so much because I came into this literally 6 months ago. I used to be in the business before the crash of 2008. I was a loan processor, an underwriter, a loan officer, and then a real estate agent. And then I got out and I have been teaching yoga for the last 16 years. And I built a multiple six figures business teaching yoga, which is quite an accomplishment if you've ever heard that. But I'm like, well, if I can get that to multiple six, I'll get this to multiple seven, right? So and I want to do it from my hammock. Like I'm not burning myself out with managing 70 something listings myself. Like I'm not at that point in my life. So right now, what I need some guidance from you guys is I've started basically by need because I'm still teaching 20, 30 hours a week, leading yoga teacher training programs, leading holistic life coaching certification programs. So I had no choice. I wanted the business off the ground and I had to go get some help because I didn't have the time. And because I'm a little bit new at all of it myself and the industry has changed significantly since I was in it, I would love to talk to one of you, anyone who could just review what I'm doing and tell me and just give me some guidance of where to go from here. I have 2 great salespeople in place. I have a backup office person in place. I'm cross-training everybody. I'm using AI. I'm doing almost everything that you guys have mentioned. I'm a great motivator. It is my energy, my leadership, my way or no way, right? All of that. But I would love to be able to lean on someone who has built something like this and kind of just have a little second look as of what my plan is and what weaknesses you see. Is there any of you that offer that?
Sarah, are you Team GoGo?
Yes, I'm under Beth Manning in Salt Lake City. I'm in
Awesome.
Lehi, Utah.
Perfect. You can get right into my calendar. So reach out to Lindsay. So it's assistant@gogosrealestate.com and get into my calendar. And I am more than happy to take a look.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Give you my 2 cents. Now, don't ask me how to build a very successful team. I built it up to 3 agents at most and 500,000 GCI at most that we ever did. I also do not have the desire to build a mega icon team. So if you want to take it to the mega icon team level, then I will introduce you to Mark Z. He is
GoGo. I don't even know what that is. So,
okay. So mega icon teams at EXP, we can have teams in 4 different ways. You can be a husband and wife team. You can be a self-organized team, you and your best friend. You can start Team Awesome and do whatever you want. Then you can have a standard team for which you have a $6 million in production in a 12-month period. You are the team lead at 16,000, and then your agents are half cappers at 8,000. Or you can have a mega icon team where you are the leader. You are a 16,000 capper, but all your agents are 4,000 cappers or quarter cappers. But in order to start a mega icon team, you have to qualify for it, which is 175 transactions plus $40 million in volume in a 12-month period. So I don't want to get to that point. I have negative 10,000 desire to run an adult daycare. And also at a mega icon team level, if they are breaking a 15% profit, they are ballers, which means they have to collect $1 million GCI to take them 150,000. I don't work for that. I rather sell 10 houses for 150,000 and call it a day than manage 40 people to make the same amount of money, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, that's not a plan. If that's what you want to do, I'm more than happy to introduce you to Mark Z. He is in our upline and he can teach you that, but I can, and Kimberly too, I'm sure would be more than happy to answer anything on the team side. But if I can answer any questions on the VA systems, processes, AI technology, all that, I'm more than happy to just jump into my calendar.
And Sarah,
thank you.
If you want to do it from your hammock and leverage out, you're going to need to figure out who do you like, trust, and know that can do the business for you.
You know, they came to me by synchronicity and I couldn't be any happier with the people so far. And of course, everything needs time and time will really reveal the reality. But right now, I honestly couldn't be more grateful because by accident, little by little, I got a person who's perfect for this role. And that one is, I'm really good at seeing what people are good at and leveraging their skills. So they ended up on the roles that they ended up with based on my assessment of what they would love. I give them a simple guidance. If I give you something that's a hell yes, then do it. If it's a hell no, kick it back. I'll give it to somebody else. I want you working on what you love and what you love only, and we'll go from there.
And if I can chime in really quick, so I think also systems, right? Like, yes, Kimberly, I know you said, do I have exhausting days? 100%. But I think it's how you create your business, right? Like Kat knows. Kat tells me to hop on a plane and I'm like, okay, I'm there. Like I go away with my husband once a month, probably for almost a week. And life still goes on. So yes, I am a little bit crazy, but Friday, I've decided I'm doing a massage, I'm doing all this stuff, Botox, my whole day is blocked off. So like in the beginning, it was hard for me to do that because I didn't want to dictate my boundaries, or I'm like, what if I lose business? Yesterday I talked to somebody and he wants to list higher than what he wants to do. Great, that's on you. I'm not doing that. So I think also having your systems in place, my system might be obviously different than somebody else's, but it works. Last year I was away for 3 weeks out of a month and life still went on and I pended 20 that month. Like I wasn't here. So it's just finding your systems and your rhythm. I think we always sometimes get caught up in like, yeah, like there might be a day I call Kimberly and I'm like, girl, help me figure this team out. I want to do that. But I think the systems is like our system, as silly as it is I grab my paperwork and I hand it to my husband, right? Yes, we can have a TC. We've tried a TC. We have the funds for a TC, but it's just easier. He's there and we move on. So I think getting your
Kristy,
system.
I think being as a mom of 2 young boys, granted, when I got licensed, they were 2 and 4 by that time, right?
Yeah.
But there is no way, granted, I did not have a license when I popped out a baby, so I can't talk from experience, but knowing what I know, what it takes to have a brand new baby, from one mom to another, I'm telling you, buckle up and get some.
100%.
Yeah,
And that's where
there's no way you're going to be able to do that.
No. And no one wants to, honestly. I mean, even this year, right? Like I had a goal and I said, if you ask me now, I'm like, I don't know, 45, 55. I have no idea because I don't want to say taking it day by day, but we have other things we're focused on, right? We have other streams of income. So we talk about that all the time. We might wake up next year and go, we're new parents, we're good with 20 deals a year, but we've worked so hard to build our business or to build our funds and have passive income that we can do that. So it's just, but the system, I think with anything, if you don't have a system, whatever that system is, yeah, nobody wants, I joke, I'm a stay-at-home protein wife now is what I say, because I just talk about protein all the time. So that's my jam.
Well, thank you, everyone. This was amazing. We are over the hour by half an hour over the hour, but I think we shared such a good content that I didn't want to cut it short and I wanted to give the time for everyone. So everyone, thank you so much for being here. For our speakers today, thank you for coming and sharing your time and your knowledge. An hour of your life, what I like to say, an hour of your time is an hour of your life, right? So we appreciate very much of spending an hour and a half with us today. And for everyone who is a guest here, this is the Team Go organization. This is what we do for a living. We just happen to be doing real estate together. Nobody owes anybody anything. Nobody cuts the other person a check. We don't take a percentage. We just do real estate together. If you would like to check us out, every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, we do a presentation. And if you go to my profile, you can see the link. But also just reach out to the person who invited you here today and have that conversation with them. If you are not happy where you are and if you're not getting what we have here, then you're deserving of it too. So we would love if you joined us. So reach out to the person who invited you here today and then we go from there. Thank you, everyone. Go get them. Bye, guys.